All right, guys. So one of the things I've always argued, that I try to argue, is that the current administration, Donald Trump and MAGA, the way in which they talk about America, the way in which they talk about American values, it's very overwhelmingly clear that they couldn't care less about what America stands for and what the founding principles of this country are. The fact is that there's two different versions of, I guess, being patriotic. So there's people out there who do call themselves patriotic, who say that they love this country, and they have those, those American flag shirts with the blue stripe on it. They have the decals on the back of their trucks, and they say that they love this country, they love what it stands for, MAGA all the way. That's why they're voting for Donald Trump, because the left hates this country. I would argue that they're not really real patriots. They're more aesthetically patriotic. It's more of a virtue signaling thing. It's more of a performative thing, but when it actually comes down to brass tacks and looking over the founding values that were instilled within this country, what beliefs that our founding fathers have, they would probably disagree with a lot of it. But then there's like the real patriots, ones who actually do care about the founding values of this country, the ones who being patriotic and loving this country and caring about it and wanting the best for it is a lot more than just putting a decal sticker on the back of your truck. It's a lot more than just performatively making it look like you actually do care about this country. It's actually supporting those values and believing them and fighting for them. And that includes fighting for people's right to burn a flag if they want to. But that is diametrically opposed to what Donald Trump wants. So we're going to read here the executive order that Donald Trump signed on Monday. And this is from the Associated Press. And then we're going to watch the video of Donald Trump signing it. So here it says, President Donald Trump on Monday signed an executive order requiring the Justice Department to investigate and prosecute people for burning the American flag, an activity that the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled is legitimate political expression protected by the U.S. Constitution. The order the Republican president signed in the Oval Office acknowledged the court's 5-4 ruling in a case from Texas in 1989, but said there is still room to prosecute flag burning if it is likely to incite imminent lawless action or amounts to fighting words. And I should say, it should be said, that executive order leaves no wiggle room at all for interpretation, just like Donald Trump's claim that birthright citizenship actually shouldn't be given to people who are born in this country but whose parents came here illegally. There's no wiggle room. We know this is settled. This is a settled issue. But again, when you're performatively patriotic and you're not actually patriotic in the sense that matters, you're going to want to do stuff like this. You're going to want to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. You're going to want to expand your territory as much as you possibly can, whether that's Canada, Greenland, Mexico, or Panama, Puerto Rico, whatever. You're going to want to continue to come off as if you're this really proud American by having America in big gold letters, but that's not actually what being an American is about. Being an American is much more than just looking the part. It's much more than just renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America and acting like that's a victory. It's much more than redoing the White House and making it look nicer, apparently. It's much more than selling merch that has the American flag on every item. It's so much more than that. It's about values, and these values are values that are completely avoided by Donald Trump and his administration. Whether we're talking about birthright citizenship, something which is settled, but he wants to open up that debate. Whether it's about due process under the law. He doesn't really care about the Constitution, doesn't really care about due process. All that matters is that he gets what he wants, and he ultimately ends up with the vision that he wants for America, however horrifying that vision is. These people tout Americana and freedom, but not in the sense that the founding fathers actually wanted. They legitimately just want a Christian theocracy at this point. It's about decentralizing power as much as reasonably possible, rather than trying to consolidate it to effectively give us a king again, basically. Even someone like John Adams was probably one of the founding fathers who was most sympathetic towards the wall separating church and state being much smaller than a lot of people like Thomas Jefferson would have argued for. Even someone like him would have looked at what Donald Trump is doing now and just be absolutely horrified. Like, the fact is that the founding fathers would be disgusted by what the Trump administration is doing to this country. They would be. I mean, just look at the way in which they're speaking.
This is just such a great opportunity, really, to recognize your leadership as a true champion for working people.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, everyone knows there's no stronger advocate for hardworking American families than you, sir. Thank you.
I'm thrilled to be here to work with you on the simple platform you were elected on. Your tireless campaign and your relentless messaging made people realize the American dream isn't dead. God bless your efforts. God bless your assembly of this team around this table for bringing the American dream back.
If you all haven't stopped by the Department of Labor, Mr. President, I invite you to see your big, beautiful face on a banner in front of the Department of Labor, because you are really the transformational president of the American worker.
Let's look at this video here of Donald Trump signing the executive order.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your attorney general.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason, which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You could do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. You can, but when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways.
I mean, it's a bit rich hearing him be concerned about inciting riots, right, regarding the burning of the flag. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this because it is important. It does matter to me because I am an American and I care about the founding values of this country. And it is disheartening to see an administration just not care at all about the Constitution, not care about what values this country was instilled upon by the founding fathers, not really care about any of the citizens really that aren't on board with MAGA. They really just they're willing to do what they want. They're willing to do whatever it takes to get what they want. And it's, you know, and it's sad that a lot of people look at MAGA and look at conservatism and think that's what America stands for. Even many people on the left. And it's what I constantly tell people who are on the left, who are even, you know, progressive. Like, don't let the right capture this Americana stuff. Like, don't let them be what people think of when people think of Americanism, when they think of patriotism, when they think of American values. The last thing people should be thinking about when they think about patriotism, when they think about American values, is MAGA. That's the last thing you should be thinking about. You should be thinking about them when you're thinking about what is the exact opposite of what the founding fathers intended for this country. Then, yeah, you'll be thinking about MAGA. But anyways, that's all for now. I just wanted to talk about this. It's just more insanity coming from the Trump administration, just doing worthless, like, stupid, needless things.